The story begins with a group of people who notice a boy standing on a bridge over a river to end his misery. One of the men in the crowd suggests that someone should call 119 since the boy is just one step away from falling into the river. The boy is looking into the river and wondering whether these people are worried about him. However, he hopes that they are not because they are just the same as the bullies who have been tormenting him since the very beginning. In the past, we see that the boy is a high schooler and he has been bullied by his classmates. A boy's phone rings, and he sees several messages from bullies talking about him. The boy's name is Lee Kyung-ho, and he begins to lose his grip. Suddenly, a cyclist passes by and notices him. The cyclist advises the boy to calm down and come up to where he is first. The cyclist tells him that school life can be hard, but to think about his family and how they would feel if he did what he was intending to do. The cyclist encourages the boy to think about his family and how devastated they would be if he were to take any drastic actions. Kyung-ho saw a cyclist and smiled, but tears were in his eyes. He explained to the cyclist that his family members had all passed away, and then he suddenly jumped off. He was in the water and felt like he was dying. He thought that if he quickly inhaled the water, it would be less painful. However, he still felt like he was suffering. His body was engulfed with water and he felt his lungs ripping apart. He went deep into the river and said, "Mom is waiting for me there." We witness a lady floating in the air with wings on her back holding a scythe and looking Kyung-ho. We see Kyung-ho on a stretcher being pulled towards an ambulance by a paramedic. Kyung-ho is half conscious and wondering who informed the paramedics about the situation. He thinks to himself that he wasn't able to end his life the way he wanted to. Kyung-ho was returning from the hospital in the evening when he came across a lady with wings. She introduced herself as Sierra, a Grim Reaper. Kyung-ho seemed unfazed by her appearance, prompting Sierra to ask if he was surprised. Kyung-ho asked if she was there to take his life. Sierra apologizes to Kyung-ho and tells him that she can't help him with what he's looking for. However, she offers to make a deal with him. If Kyung-ho agrees, he can use something called an underworld ticket to borrow the power of the dead, including famous people like Leonardo da Vinci or General Lu Bu. Kyung-ho doesn't seem interested, but Sierra points out that his desire to see his mother again is unlikely to be fulfilled in the underworld. She explains that his mother's soul is still lingering in this world, but she can't seem to find him. Kyung-ho ignores Sierra and walks away. In the next scene, three guys are standing on a street. One of them has a little cat baby and is saying he can make a music tune out of its weeping sound. It appears that all three guys are harassing the cat. Kyung-ho is passing through the street and hears some sounds coming from there. He sees the three guys harassing a cat and approaches them. Kyung-ho tells them to let the cat go, or they will kill it. Two of the guys look at him angrily. The one who has the cat asks Kyung-ho if it's his. Kyung-ho says no, but tells him to release the cat. He shows the guy his phone and informs him that the cat has a family and the police have been informed. To hear that the guy who grabs the cat punches Kyung-ho's stomach. The blonde guy, named Hyo-jong, who is a boxer, hits him. After they beat him up, they talk and joke about him. Kyung-ho fell into a corner and we see in the flashback Kyung-ho and his mother were on a sinking ship in the sea. A helicopter flew over and announced that everyone should wear their life jackets. Kyung-ho's mother gave him her life jacket and told him to wear it. He was crying and asked what would happen to her. Suddenly, his mother's body started to bleed and turn red. She decided to give her life jacket to her son and smiled at him, saying, "I love you." A wave came and she drowned in the water. Kyung-ho shouted for his mother and was very worried about her. The cat is looking at Kyung-ho. Kyung-ho wonders why the cat didn't run away, since he helped it. The baby cat walks towards him and Kyung-ho reassures it that it doesn't have to be afraid. The baby cat passes by Kyung-ho's side. Hyo-jong insulted Kyung-ho's family and threw his cigarette at him. Kyung-ho became angry and frustrated, which led him to sign a pact with Grim Reaper. Sierra witnessed this and smiled while standing on an electronic pillar. After the incident, three guys walked away from Kyung-ho. Despite being beaten, Kyung-ho stood up and a spiritual flame surrounded him. The three guys looked back at him in surprise. Kyung-ho stood in a boxing pose while they laughed. Two guys ran towards Kyung-ho to punch him. One of them tried to punch him, but Kyung-ho dodged all the punches like a professional boxer. Hyojong was surprised to see his boxing tactics and challenged him to a boxing match at 7 p.m. in Hansung Gym. Suddenly, Hyojong tried to punch Kyung-ho, but Kyung-ho dodged the punch and counterattacked him. His one punch was enough to knock Hyojong down. Kyung-ho's two friends were afraid to see a boxer like him fighting. It seemed like there was a Muhammad Ali spirit inside Kyung-ho's body, who is a king of boxers. Kyung-ho was approached by Sierra, who asked for his thoughts on the underworld ticket. Kyung-ho then inquired about how he could find his mom. Sierra told him that he needed to find someone who could see spirits. She informed him that if he met that person while using the underworld ticket, he too could see spirits. Kyung-ho asked her if he would finally be able to see his mom. Sierra replied that when he borrowed the strength of the dead, he would be able to see his mom for an hour, which would cost him a year of his life. She also mentioned that humans could live up to 100 years, so losing around 20 to 30 years was not a big deal. She then asked Kyung-ho how long he wanted to do this. He replied that he only needed one ticket for a year. Sierra was surprised, but Kyung-ho smiled and told her to take everything and leave him with a year, and a pact is sealed between them. Kyung-ho was at home the next morning, lying in his bed and thinking about the incident that had occurred earlier. He remembered a conversation he had with Sierra about a pact. Sierra had explained to him that he was borrowing the strength of Muhammad Ali. She then demonstrated how it worked by touching a wall with her hand, and a big gate appeared behind her. She called it a Heaven's Gate, which was filled with a list of spirit names. She gave Kyung-ho a red ticket, which was required to open the gate. The ticket could be purchased by using his lifespan, and as long as he had it with him, he could open it whenever he wanted. If he designated the spirit he wanted to become in advance, he could use it right away. Kyung-ho was having a conversation with Sierra, who told him that if he tore apart a ticket, he could gain some power. Sierra also informed him that the active duration of that power was only 1 hour for the tickets she would give him. She gave Kyung-ho just one ticket and promised to give the remaining tickets whenever she returned from the underworld. Moreover, she also promised to give him 100 tickets as a service. Amid their conversation, Sierra suddenly gave Kyung-ho a necklace and said that it would shine when he came close to his mom's spirit. Kyung-ho was confused and asked her what he should do since he couldn't see spirits. Sierra replied that he only needed to make physical contact with a child who could see spirits while possessing the ticket. Kyung-ho was curious and wanted to know more details, but Sierra suddenly flew away into the sky and said that the person he was looking for was not far from him. Kyung-ho wore the necklace that Sierra gave him. Later, when he opened his classroom door at school, his Bullies classmates looked at him. They had covered his seating area with dirty drawings. As Kyung-ho tried to grab his books from his table, he saw that his hand was covered in ink. His bullies had put ink all over his books. Kyung-ho threw his books in the trash. During a break, a guy was showing off his nunchucks to a group of people. Suddenly, he attacked Kyung-ho's back with the nunchucks and made a disrespectful comment about Kyung-ho's mother. Kyung-ho became angry and yelled at him to stop, threatening to fight back. This surprised his classmates. The guy kicked Kyung-ho in the stomach, causing him to fall to the ground. Kyung-ho then remembered that Sierra had given him a ticket to find someone who could see spirits, but he realized that it was the only one and he didn't want to waste it. Instead, he made a joke and pretended he had misunderstood the guy's identity. His classmates laughed at him. Afterward, Kyung-ho sat down and thought about how he could find someone who could see spirits. He wondered if he should touch every student in the school to find them. He decided that he couldn't waste any more time and needed to start looking for them immediately. Kyung-ho walked down a hallway and noticed two girls talking to each other. He approached one of them and introduced himself as Lee Kyung-ho, a practitioner of chiromancy, and asked if she had heard of it. He explained that he was currently offering his services for free and offered to read her palm. The girl was surprised but agreed. Kyung-ho took her hand and looked at it, but didn't find anything noteworthy. He then walked away, and the girl reminded him that he had offered to read her palm. After school, Kyung-ho was walking on a road and noticed that asking 10 people a day like this was a bit hard. He saw on his ticket that he only had 364 days remaining to his death. He also thought that without the underworld ticket, he couldn't find that person related to the gleaming amethyst. He couldn't use this ticket until Sierra gave him the rest of them. He heard some sounds coming from the streets and saw the guy who had beaten him in school earlier. He and his gang were harassing a girl. Kyung-ho thought about whether he should save her, but he walked away. However, one of his gang members with an orange jacket saw Kyung-ho and grabbed his neck with his hand. He asked Kyung-ho where he had been when he skipped school all this time. The boy who beat up Kyung-ho earlier was named Hyung Seob. He took Kyung to the street where he and his gang were harassing a girl. Kyung-ho was thinking that if he had several tickets, he could get rid of the gang bothering him. Suddenly, one of the gang members pulled down Kyung-ho's pants, revealing his black underwear. Kyung-ho looked angry, and Hyung Seob noticed. Hyung Seob told Kyung-ho to brighten up his expression, but Kyung-ho smiled instead. Unfortunately, Hyung Seob slapped Kyung-ho, causing him to fall to the ground. Hyung Seob then kicked him and asked his gang to pass him the nunchucks, which he used to hit Kyung-ho's stomach. This was not the first time Hyung Seob and his gang had harassed Kyung-ho in school. Kyung-ho managed to stand up and walk away, but one of the gang members hit him on the head with the nunchucks and threatened him to bring money next time. He sees that Kyung-ho wears a shining necklace. He pulled it from Kyung-ho's neck. Kyung-ho asked him to give it back, but the boy refused, saying that it wouldn't be fun if he gave it back so easily. Instead, he gave Kyung-ho an old milk box and challenged him to drink it all at once. He said that if Kyung-ho could do it, he would return the necklace. The milk was a month old, and to make it a little better, they added smoked cigarettes as MSG. Kyung-ho drank the milk without hesitation and asked for the necklace back, but the boy refused, saying that he was lying, and then threw the necklace on the ground and crushed it. This made Kyung-ho upset, and he punched the boy hard in the stomach, causing him to fall to the ground. Kyung-ho faced a group of guys and lifted his nunchucks, announcing that he didn't want to fight but to do something more important with his life. He spun the nunchucks like a professional martial artist, surprising the gang members. Inside Kyung-ho's spirit was Bruce Lee, founder of Jeet Kune Do. Hyung Seob, the gang leader, ordered his gang to attack Kyung-ho. Kyung-ho dodged every attack and used his nunchucks to counterattack. When 3 guys were attacking him, he grabbed one and used him as a shield while dealing with the other 2. Hyung Seob tried to punch Kyung-ho, but he kicked his leg and punched him in the head multiple times, then finished him off with a punch to the stomach. After all the gang members were knocked out, Kyung-ho walked toward Hyung Seob and warned him not to ask for money or outcast anyone ever again. He threatened to tear all his limbs if he ever saw him doing it again and demanded an okay in response. He pulls out a ticket and wonders if this is what satisfaction feels like since he managed to beat everyone. But he quickly realizes that he still doesn't know when he will get the rest. Suddenly, he spots a girl who was harassed by a Hyung Seob. The girl has found her belongings from one of Hyung Seob's gang members and thanks him for helping her find them. She also notices a special ring that belongs to her and is relieved that Kyung-ho found it. She mentions that it would have been worse if he hadn't been there. Then, she tells him she has something urgent to do and promises to reward him if they meet again. Kyung-ho suddenly remembers that this girl might be the one who can see spirits, but she's already gone. Kyung-ho met with Sierra one morning to inform her that his necklace had broken. Sierra fixed the necklace for him and also gave him an additional 100 tickets as promised earlier. Kyung-ho wore his necklace and left his house, running down the street. While running, he collided with a girl who was holding an ice cream cone and wearing a hoodie. The girl's ice cream fell to the ground and was wasted due to the collision. Kyung-ho apologized and gave her some coins, telling her to buy anything she wanted as he had something urgent to attend to. He then ran away from the scene, leaving the girl looking confused about what had just happened. In the next scene, Kyung-ho meets the girl who was harassed by Hyung Seob earlier. They sit together at a table and chat. The girl tells Kyung that she can see spirits and that if he wants to find his mother, who has passed away, she will do her best to help him. Kyung is excited and asks if it's true that she can see spirits. The girl notices a ring Kyung is wearing and explains that it has telekinetic power, which helps her feel the presence of spirits better. Suddenly, she hits Kyung's head with a spoon and apologizes, explaining that a vindictive spirit has been trying to attach itself to him for 300 years, and if it had succeeded, he would have suffered for a few days. The girl tells Kyung that her power is inherited from her family and that she usually accepts reservations from clients in the evening. But since Kyung is special, she will make an exception and meet him during the day. Earlier, the girl who had her ice cream wasted passes by the restaurant and wonders if Kyung is the one who did it. Kyung thanks the girl for her help. That girl recommended a chocolate and orange parfait at a particular place, but Kyung-ho interrupted her, bought an expensive item for her, and wondered about the spirits she mentioned. According to her, he could see the spirits if he made physical contact with her. However, the girl suddenly saw a man and ran away. Kyung-ho followed her, but both of them disappeared. Later, Kyung-ho saw the girl and the man running away from him. He decided to chase them and find out why someone was chasing her. While running, he encountered the ice cream girl again, accidentally knocking over her bag of cat food. Despite his efforts, he could not find the girl and the man in the crowd. Kyung-ho then cut an underworld ticket in half and saw that there was Silvio Carter's spirit inside him, who was a long jump athlete. Kyung-ho jumped from one terrace to another roof, trying to locate a girl and a man. He saw the girl running towards another street and decided to follow her. However, on his way, he accidentally stepped on a cardboard box that the ice cream girl had made for her cat. The girl was furious and demanded an explanation. Kyung-ho apologized and offered to fix it, but the girl was not satisfied with his attempt and said that it looked like trash. Kyung-ho tried to reason with her, but they ended up getting into an argument. He decided to leave and walk down the street when he saw the man who was chasing the girl. The man showed him a poster of the girl, claiming that she was a scammer, and asked him about his relationship with her. A man approached Kyung-ho and accused him of being with a woman who scams people by pretending to see spirits. The man noticed Kyung-ho's reaction and suggested that he was also scammed. Kyung-ho felt foolish and regretted his actions. He sat down and saw the girl again. She was murmuring to herself. Kyung-ho impulsively touched her hand and suddenly saw many spirits around them. The girl was annoyed and asked him why he did that. Kyung-ho admitted that he thought she could see spirits, but the girl found the suggestion ridiculous and accused him of being delusional. Kyung-ho was perplexed as to why the girl didn't want others to know about something. She walked away, but he grabbed her hoodie and turned her around. She told him to let it go, as she couldn't handle it anymore. Kyung-ho realized that he had called her crazy earlier, and she was hurt by it. The girl told him that she hated when people referred to her as crazy and asked him to leave her alone. Kyung-ho apologized for what had happened earlier, but he had something important to discuss with her. She said loudly that he shouldn't follow her, and that she couldn't handle it anymore. They noticed two men in suits and black goggles walking towards them. The girl grabbed Kyung-ho and told him to hide until they passed. Once the men were gone, they sat on a stair. Kyung-ho wondered why the girl was still so upset, as the men had left. When a child ran past them, screaming about ghosts, Kyung-ho was confused by the commotion and asked the girl next to him if she was headed the same way. However, the girl was unsure if she should still ask for his help since she had already asked for his assistance earlier. Despite this, Kyung-ho told her to wait for him while he investigated the situation. He had heard the child's comment about ghosts, and the atmosphere felt eerie. The girl sat down near a vibrating box, which seemed to have someone inside. Kyung-ho asked the girl what she planned to do with the box and cantuna she had with her. She told him to leave if he was only interested in watching her. Kyung-ho agreed to just watch. The girl wondered why the spirit was still not at peace. Kyung-ho told her that cats like to play with grass. He had looked up things that cats love on the internet and suggested trying a plastic bag if that didn't work. He noticed that the cat was picky and thought it might help if he could see it without touching it. He also observed that hair is a part of the body. Kyung-ho came across a scary cat spirit and got frightened. He saw a girl walking towards the spirit and tried to stop her. Despite Kyung-ho's warning about the potential danger, the girl reassured him that the spirit might not be as harmful as it seemed. She approached the spirit and speculated that it might have been an abandoned cat, showing empathy for its apparent dislike of people. Suddenly, she noticed a color in front of her and became visibly upset upon realizing that someone had put a cat into the paint can. In a fit of anger, she removed the cat from the can and tried to clean it off. Kyung-ho went to buy some water. A girl is concerned that a spirit is very angry because of a child mistreating a kitten. She saw Hyojong, who was beaten up by Kyung-ho earlier. She thinks they were the ones who put the kitten into a paint can. A guy who looks like their leader is lecturing about how they were beaten up by just one kid. Hyojong and his two friends bow their heads and apologize for their defeat. It seems like the leader must be very angry. Then suddenly, the girl appeared and inquired about who had put that cat into the paint can. These guys were confused about who she was and why she suddenly appeared. Leader boy says to a girl that he thinks she found the wrong place. And how about she go play somewhere else? The girl confronts a guy who seems to be their leader, and he admits to putting the kitten in the paint can. The leader laughed at her, but the girl slapped him. She told him not to laugh because he didn't know how angry the kitten's mother was. She demanded an apology for what he had done. The leader approached the girl and asked what she was talking about. She slapped him again and demanded an apology, threatening to make him do it if he refused. The leader grabbed her hoodie and asked why he should apologize. He raised his hand to slap her, but suddenly Kyung-ho appeared and asked what was going on, telling the leader to let her go. Hyojong and his guys recognized Kyung-ho as the one who had beaten them up earlier. The girl sat on the ground. The leader acknowledged Kyung-ho as the one who made his guys suffer. Hyojong mentioned that Kyung-ho was also a boxer and told everyone to stay alert. The leader told Hyojong to shut up and prepared to fight Kyung-ho. Kyung-ho tried to pull a ticket out of his pocket, but it wasn't there. Before he realized it, the leader punched him in the stomach and then in the head, causing Kyung-ho to fall to the ground. He saw a ticket in front of him at some distance. He tried to grab that ticket, but the boy stood in his hand. Kyung-ho managed to grab the ticket and tried to tear it, but at the same time, on the other side, Hyojong grabbed the girl's hand. The girl screamed, and her scream was heard throughout the entire area. Upon hearing her, Hyojong raised his hand to slap her, but suddenly he realized that some men in black suits with goggles were running towards him. One of them stopped Hyojong from slapping the girl. It seemed like they were the girl's bodyguards. At that moment, the area was surrounded by a large number of bodyguards, and the girl tried to hide from them. One of her bodyguards called her father to inform him that they found her. Another bodyguard grabbed the leader boy's face and lifted his entire body with one hand, scaring the leader. The girl told the bodyguards to stop and just put them in the police station. The girl wondered what she should do, as she couldn't remove the paint and the kitten seemed unable to move. One of her bodyguards said to give it to him, as he had been helping a veterinarian in the hospital. He put the cat on the ground and checked its heartbeat. The girl mentioned that there was still more paint on the cat that needed to be taken off. The bodyguard said that there was no hospital nearby and something wrong had happened to the cat. He realized that the atmosphere had suddenly become chilly and the air was getting colder than before. The girl wiped her tears with her hand because she felt bad about the cat. Kyung-ho touched her hair to observe the spirit's situation and saw that the sadness of losing a family member had made the spirit more aggressive. Kyung-ho walked toward a cat cube and tore an underworld ticket. We could see a James Aereo spirit inside Kyung-ho's body, who is a great veterinary surgeon. Kyung-ho started to provide first aid to the cat, but the spirit became angry. Despite Kyung-ho's efforts, the cat eventually moved and returned to normal. The girl was surprised to see this, and the angry spirit transformed into a cat and licked its child, leaving her astonished. After some time, the cat spirit disappeared into the sky and attained peace. Kyung-ho told the girl she didn't have to thank him since he genuinely wanted to help. The girl responded that wasn't what she wanted to say. She asked her bodyguard for a band-aid, but he gave her a cute, pink, childish one, which embarrassed her. She asked for another, but the bodyguard denied he had only that one. She then put the band-aid on Kyung-ho's face. One of her bodyguards advised her not to go outside like this because her father would be angry if he found out. The bodyguard gave Kyung-ho a business card and told him to go to the hospital, get treated, and contact him for the medical fees. As the girl was leaving with her bodyguards, she turned back and introduced herself as Han Chae-yun, the daughter of the Sien Group CEO. In another nighttime scene, Kyung-ho is near Chae-yun's house. He is pleased to learn that she is the daughter of the CEO of Sien Group, as it makes it easier to locate her house with just the address. Kyung-ho wears a mask and a cap to conceal his identity. He remembers hearing that she is not allowed to leave the house and that the guards do not even allow acquaintances to meet her. He thinks that anyone who sees him like this might think he is a thief, and it would be over for him if he got reported to the police. Suddenly, he tears a ticket and runs toward a large wall in front of him. He climbs the wall in one try, channeling the spirit of Derek Hersey, a climbing expert. He thinks this is the only way to meet her, but at the top of the wall, he sees dozens of bodyguards with torches surrounding her house. He realizes that with so many bodyguards, it would be impossible to reach her no matter how many attempts he makes. He is sure these guards are just as strong as the ones he saw previously. As he surveys the many bodyguards, he comes up with an idea. The next morning, we see Han Tae-yob, who is the CEO of Sien Group and Chae-yun's father. He is angry with his manager and a group of men because they were unable to manage one girl. He mentions that he is more sensitive because there was an attempt on Chae-yun's life by a killer, and as a result, he disagrees with Chae-yun going outside of the house. This is why Chae-yun is hiding from her bodyguards.